Somewhere in your workplace's HR system, there's a form that takes about 2 minutes to fill in, and it doesn't ask for a single extra dollar from you. Fill it in, and roughly $1,700 a year can start appearing that was never sitting in your bank account to begin with. Quick reminder before we go further. This is general information, not personal financial advice, and the exact tax and cap figures in this video can shift by financial year. So treat this as a reason to check your own numbers, not as a substitute for your own payslip. Nobody hands you that form on your first day. Nobody explains what it actually does to the two numbers already printed on your payslip. So most people never touch it. If you've already watched our video on switching from balanced to high growth, this isn't that. That video was about how your existing super is invested. If you've watched the one on picking a lower fee fund, this isn't that either. That was about who's holding your money and what they charge to hold it. This is a third, completely separate lever, and it's the only one of the three that changes what your payslip actually says. It's called salary sacrifice, and in plain terms, it means asking your employer to redirect part of your pay before tax touches it, straight into your super, instead of into your bank account. Meet Jess and Dave again, both on $85,000 a year. Same employer, same payroll system, same blank salary sacrifice form sitting in the same HR portal. Dave has heard the phrase salary sacrifice and assumes it means giving something up for no real reason. So the form stays blank and his payslip looks the same this year as it did last year. Jess spent one lunch break filling it in, asking payroll to redirect $10,000 of her pay a year, about $384 a fortnight, straight into her super before it's taxed. Nothing else in her life changed. Same job, same take-home habits, same spending. Just one form. Here's what that one form actually does, shown on the payslip itself. If Dave's employer paid him that same $10,000 as ordinary cash wages, it would be taxed at his marginal rate, 30% income tax plus the 2% Medicare levy, so 32% gone before it ever reaches his account. $10,000 becomes $6,800 in his hand. Jess's $10,000 never goes near her take-home pay at all. It goes straight from her employer into her super fund, where it's taxed at a flat 15% instead of her 32% marginal rate. $10,000 becomes $8,500, landing inside her super. Line them up, and the gap is impossible to miss. Jess ends up with $8,500. Somewhere for the exact same $10,000 that would have only been worth $6,800 in Dave's bank account. $1,700 a year, generated by nothing except which box got ticked on a form. Money the tax code effectively hands back to anyone who redirects it before it's taxed as income. Before you go fill in that form yourself, 3 things this video would be irresponsible to leave out. First, if you're still paying off a HECS or help debt, salary sacrifice will not lower your repayments, even though your taxable income drops. The ATO calculates what you owe using something called repayment income, which deliberately adds your salary sacrifice super straight back on top before working out what you owe. Your HECS repayment stays exactly the same either way. Don't sacrifice expecting a HECS shortcut, because it isn't one. Second, there's a yearly ceiling on how much can go into super at this concessional, lower taxed rate, sitting somewhere around $32,000 for this financial year. And it isn't just your salary sacrifice that counts toward it. Your employer's compulsory contributions, 12% of your wage as of the middle of last year, count too. On Jess's $85,000 salary, that's about $10,200 already used up by her employer alone before she sacrifices a single dollar herself. Add her $10,000, and she's sitting around $20,200, comfortably under the cap, with room to spare. Push that sacrifice higher though, especially on a bigger salary, and that ceiling gets real fast. If you've gone a few years without using your full cap and your balance is under $500,000, there's also a carry forward rule that can let you use some of that unused room retroactively, worth 10 minutes with your fund if this applies to you. Third, this whole strategy flips for very high earners. Once your income plus your concessional contributions cross $250,000 combined, an extra 15% tax gets applied on top, on the way in. The lower tax arbitrage is real for the vast majority of people watching this, but it isn't unlimited. One more reason the timing on this matters right now, not eventually. From the middle of next year, employers become legally required to pay super into your account on the same day they pay your wages, instead of the old quarterly lag. Once that lands, every dollar you sacrifice starts compounding inside your super sooner than it used to, which makes filling in that form today worth slightly more than filling it in on the exact same terms a year from now. So here's the actual homework, and it's shorter than the video you just watched. Ask your payroll or HR team, sometimes it's a single line on an online portal, how to set up a regular salary sacrifice amount into your existing super fund. Before you lock in a number, add up your employer's compulsory contributions for the year and check what's left under this year's cap, so you're using the room you've got, not accidentally overshooting it. Same salary, same payslip template, same employer. The only difference between Jess and Dave was 2 minutes on one form. You don't need to find extra money to do this. You need to redirect money you already have before the tax office sees it as income. Make sure you subscribe and let's get sorted.